The reenactments and commentary in this program may contain frank talk of a sexual nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oral sex with a young boy or revenge by an angry man. Be prepared for some startling, shocking, and extremely graphic allegations in today's testimony, folks. Hello, I'm James Curtis. Welcome to E's coverage of the Michael Jackson trial. It rained on Team Jackson's parade as they arrived at the courthouse in Santa Maria. Inside, Jackson faced yet another day filled with lurid details about what allegedly went on behind the gates at Neverland. The question remains, were the eyewitness accounts believable? Under direct examination by District Attorney Tom Sneddon, here's what the former Jackson security guard Ralph Chacon told the jury according to the courtroom transcripts.
Now, at some point that evening, did you see Mr. Jackson and the child Jordy leave the jacuzzi?
Yes, sir, I did.
Could you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, were you able to observe where they went?
Yes, sir.
And where did they go?
They were going to the outside restroom area by the rec room.
Now, at the time that you saw Mr. Jackson and the boy go into the restroom area, did you at some point in time approach the restroom?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall from the time that you saw Mr. Jackson and the child go into the restroom area, how long it was before you approached the area?
Probably in half an hour, maybe 35, 40 minutes.
And then could you describe to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where you went?
I went around the rec room that leads right behind the restrooms. That's where I went.
And what did you do when you got there? Well, when you got in that area, did you hear or see anything?
Yes, sir.
And which?
Well, I heard first that Mr. Jackson and the boy were inside a shower, the shower room in there.
How many showers are there in the restroom?
There was only one shower.
Now, you've indicated that you heard some people in the shower. Did you recognize the voices?
Yes, sir, I did.
Whose voices did you recognize?
Mr. Jackson's and Jordy's.
And did you look into the shower area?
Not right away, not the first time that I came around because I couldn't see anything. But I started to leave the area when I was thinking, I said, what's going on here, you know? There's a grown man in a shower with a boy.
Objection. Move to strike. Stricken.
All right. So you left?
Right.
How far did you go?
I didn't go too far, probably halfway around the rec room.
All right. And did you decide to go back?
Yes, sir, I did.
Why did you decide to go back?
I wanted to know what was going on in there.
Why?
Because it wasn't right.
Objection. Relevance. Move to strike.
I'll strike the question why and the answer.
Okay. So you went back. When you went back, where did you go to?
I went back to the same area where the shower was located. There was a window, and I was able to see, and they were no longer in the shower.
It gets worse, folks. I want to warn you right now, as the testimony continues, the details become much more graphic.
So you looked into the window?
Yes, sir.
All right. And what did you see? Where did you see Mr. Jackson and the child at this point?
I saw them standing in the nude in the middle area, and Jordy was on the right, and he was on the left side, standing, facing each other.
Now, at the time that you saw that, what were the lighting conditions inside of the restroom?
Oh, it was lit up, just that area there. Not where the shower's at, but that area, it was. The lights were on.
Did you have any difficulty seeing in there?
Not at all, sir.
Now, from the point outside looking down inside, what did you see go on between the defendant, Mr. Jackson, and Jordan?
I saw that Mr. Jackson was caressing the boy's hair. He was kissing him on his head and his face, his lips. He started kissing him on the shoulders and started going down to his nipples. Started sucking his nipples. Started going down to his penis and putting it in his mouth. And about that time, I left.
Okay. You say you saw him go down and do what?
He put the little boy's penis in his mouth.
Did you actually see that?
Yes, sir.
And then you left?
Yes, sir.
Where did you go?
I went back to the barbecue area.
Now, when they came out of the restroom, could you describe what was going on?
Jordy was mounted on Michael's back, piggyback, and they were headed for the back of the kitchen door to the main house.
Did the child, Jordan, have any clothing on?
He had, I believe it was a towel. I believe it was a towel. It's the type, like it's a robe, but it's a towel.
So a cloth robe or towel of some kind?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what was Mr. Jackson wearing, if you recall?
Same.
Could you see whether or not the child, Jordan, had any other clothing on or not?
No, sir, I didn't observe.
And where did they go?
They went inside the house, the main house.
Where do you start with this testimony? Ricky, Sean, this is the most graphic that we've had thus far in this courtroom. A third party, that is someone who is not the victim, says what happens and describes it in graphic detail. Where are the holes? Are there any?
Well, the holes are going to come in the cross-examination by Mr. Mesereau, which is what is the motive of this person to make this up. But I want to take the prosecution side because I know Sean's going to take the defense side here because of dealing with the cross. Prosecution side is this. I got you. I got you now. Because what this shows, according to the law, is propensity. And if you believe this, just a feather, a little bit more than 50%, you're going to convict him for doing the same thing or a similar thing, excuse me, not oral sex, a similar thing to Gavin.
But Sean, even before we get to the cross-examination, which is formidable here with respect to this witness, doesn't the question arise out of this testimony in and of itself? You're a security guard, a security officer on the Jackson estate. You see this conduct and you tell no one.
You tell no one. You never call the police, ever. And we'll hear later why he says he doesn't do that. I think it's completely unbelievable. And we will see in the cross-examination, this witness is extremely biased. He had a lawsuit against Mr. Jackson, which he lost, and owes a lot of money to him. So he has a motive to lie. But as we've heard, these are very, very graphic details and very disturbing. And if the jury believes it, I think they're going to convict Michael Jackson.
But can this witness survive the cross-examination? Next, the former Jackson security officer recalls another very disturbing incident between Michael Jackson and this same young boy.
Can you describe that? Where is that located? What building?
Well, it's where the office is at behind the main house. It's connected. There's a breezeway, but it's connected. And there's a display window, or a window where this Peter Pan display is at, where it lights up. And you see Tinkerbell flying around the window.
Okay. Could you describe to the jury the positions of the child and the defendant, Mr. Jackson?
Well, they were looking at the display, the Tinkerbell lighting up, and Jordy was in front, Mr. Jackson was in back, and he had his hands over like this.
You're indicating over?
Over his back towards the front.
Okay.
And then he turned him around, kissed him. It was passionate, but it didn't last that long. And then his hands went down to his private areas, and then they ran inside the house.
All right. You say he kissed him, and it was not very long, but it was passionate. Where did he kiss the child?
In the mouth.
And when you say his hands went down, where did they go? Whose hands went down where?
Mr. Jackson's hands went down to his crotch area, the boys.
The boys?
Yes, sir.
Now, one of the problems here, Ricky, I would propose for this prosecution team is, unlike the alleged accuser, Jason, who we heard from along with his mother over the last couple of days, this young alleged victim will not appear in this court.
Jordy is nowhere to be found. And one of the things that some people may say is, why not? I'm not sure who that benefits and who that hurts. But there are a lot of people, including our very own Howard Weitzman, who would say that this did not happen. But the jury's not going to hear those people.
They're not going to hear those people, Sean. So the only thing that this jury has is this person's testimony and credibility. So does it all rest with the credibility of this witness?
I think it does rest with the credibility of this witness, and I think, again, as we'll see, Mr. Mesereau does a good job of destroying his credibility. When I first met Howard Weitzman, I first started at Mr. Cochran's office, and one of my jobs was this particular case that we'll hear about, where this person is involved in a lawsuit against Michael Jackson. He was one of many, and we had a real problem with them.
All right.
Doesn't mean he's not telling the truth.
Don't get too far down that road yet, because I want to wait.
The truth, but
yeah, that's true. That's true. And I don't want to get too far down that road because we're going to hear some of that testimony.
We're anxious, James.
Save
we're anxious.
the juicy stuff because, folks, when you hear it, regardless of what you think about this testimony at this point, don't make up your mind just yet. When we return, knives are sharpened as the defense goes on to slice and dice, indeed, go for the heart of this testimony. Stay with us.
The reenactments and commentary in this program may contain frank talk of a sexual nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back. If the former security officer now on the stand saw Michael Jackson performing oral sex on a minor at Neverland, then why didn't he report the incident to the police, to the kid's parents? Hey, he could have told us. We would have let everybody know. Here's what that witness told the district attorney, Tom Sneddon, according to the courtroom transcripts.
With regard to the testimony you've just related to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury here this morning, did you also describe those incidents to the when you were asked to make a statement under oath?
Yes, sir.
When you were subpoenaed to the grand jury?
Yes, sir.
Now, prior to the time that you appeared to give a statement under oath as to the events that you related here this morning, had you ever told anyone about what you saw?
No, sir.
Had you ever mentioned it to anybody?
No, sir.
Why not?
Objection. Relevance.
Overruled. You may answer.
Well, a lot of things went through my mind, but one of the things was, who would believe me?
Indeed, a theme repeated by the accuser's mother, even though we haven't heard from her quite yet. Who would believe him indeed? Well, certainly not Tom Mesereau. The defense attorney infers that this witness has an axe to grind with the King of Pop. The question, can Mesereau use that very same axe to chop this witness's story to pieces?
You sued Mr. Jackson, and you wanted $16 million, right?
Well, I don't know about the $16 million.
You wanted millions, true?
No, sir.
Really?
Well, I don't know, sir. Whatever our attorney was, he was the one who was speaking for us.
Okay, we'll get into that. You sued Mr. Jackson claiming you were wrongfully terminated, right?
That's correct, sir.
He sued you claiming you had stolen property from him, true?
That's correct, sir.
The jury found you were not wrongfully terminated by Mr. Jackson, correct?
But we were, sir.
Answer my question, please. Did the Santa Maria jury find you were not wrongfully terminated by Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir.
And they also found you had stolen property from Mr. Jackson, correct?
But I didn't, sir.
Did the Santa Maria jury find you had stolen property from Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir.
A judgment was entered against you, Mr. Chacon, for $25,000, the value of what you had stolen, correct?
For candy bars, sir?
A judgment was entered against you for $25,000, the value of what the court found you had stolen, correct?
Well, if a candy bar is worth that much, yes, sir.
That's not all you owe Mr. Jackson currently, is it?
No, sir. I don't owe him.
In fact, Judge Zell Cantor of this court entered a judgment against you and your co-defendants for $1,473,117.61, correct?
Yes, sir.
He ordered you pay all of Mr. Jackson's legal fees and costs, correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever paid any of that judgment, Mr. Chacon?
No, sir. I filed bankruptcy.
A tough exchange. I'm thinking it. I'm sure you all are thinking it, Sean.
Well, you know that I love this, right?
Yeah.
You know that. My favorite part, I think, Mr. Mesereau does a brilliant job throughout, but my favorite part is when, of course, he equates the old Santa Maria jury that found this guy to be a liar and a thief, equates them with this Santa Maria jury who's now having to evaluate this credibility. He says the Santa Maria jury found you had stolen property, and he says, but I didn't steal property. That means that jury found that he's a liar and found that he's a thief. So why should this Santa Maria jury believe him at all?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because the reason that the prosecution is going to argue to the jury is this. There was a settlement in this case involving young Jordy. The jury may not know, though. Gosh, I would hardly understand how, living in California, they wouldn't know. This is a $20 million settlement. Jordy isn't here, and this is what we got. Well, Jordy didn't get that settlement for nothing, so will say the prosecution, and so will think the minds of the jurors.
But therein lies the conundrum, if you will. As we said just a moment ago, Jordy's not here. However, or I should say, because of that, the only person they have to substantiate what happened to little Jordy is this guy. This guy, as Sean says, who was found to be a liar by another, quote, Santa Maria jury. It's artful and it's powerful.
It's artful, it is powerful, but where there's smoke, there's fire. It's there for propensity, and he's not the only one, because there are 5 alleged prior victims.
Indeed.
Problem with 1108.
Problem with 1108. That's the evidence code that keeps rearing its, according to Sean, ugly head. And is it, sort of reminds me of Barry Scheck. Remind me to tell you what that means in just a little while. For now, once again, the word tabloid echoes throughout the courtroom. A program note, you're going to hear the name Mr. Ring. Mr. Ring is an attorney who represented the witness, Ralph Chacon.
After a 6-month trial, this is a good way to get even with him, isn't it?
Argumentative. Object, Your Honor. Move to strike.
Sustained.
Do you have any motive today, sir, to get even with Mr. Jackson?
No, sir.
Do you remember telling a therapist you'd rather get $1 million from Mr. Jackson than work?
No, sir.
You were taking money from tabloids and using it to fund costs of your lawsuit against Mr. Jackson?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry.
And before you went to Mr. Ring, you had told various people that you never saw anything inappropriate at Neverland. True?
No, sir.
You told various people you'd never seen Michael Jackson molest anybody. True?
No, sir.
So if anybody comes into court and says that, they're just not telling the truth, right?
That's correct, sir.
Next, the defense wonders if the image of a superstar seducing a young boy could just slip your mind.
Would you agree that with each interview you do, you add more lurid facts about Mr. Jackson?
No, sir.
You would agree your story about what you claim he did has changed through the years, has it not?
No, sir.
Didn't you just meet with Mr. Snedden the other day?
Yes, sir.
Didn't you tell Mr. Snedden you had new facts that you forgot in 1993?
Well, wait a minute. I'm going to object to that question. Your Honor, that's not asked in good faith with regard to the... I can't do it without a speaking objection, but if we could approach the bench, because this is not right.
Overruled. The question was, did you tell Mr. Snedden you had new facts that you had forgot in 1993?
Yes, I did.
You told Mr. Snedden that you forgot to say certain things in 1993 about Mr. Jackson allegedly molesting young men. True?
Yes, sir.
So now, Ricky Kleeman, this witness, the prosecution rather, has to deal with the witness bringing up new information at a very late date.
Yes, and the problem for the prosecutor here is the prosecutor himself is the witness.
Yes.
Because what is said is that Mr. Chacon told Mr. Snedden that he remembered something or that he hadn't told him something in the past. So we know, because we teach it, that when you're going to interview someone, if you're the prosecutor or the defense lawyer, get another person in the room, because now Mr. Snedden may have to become a witness.
Exactly, because he was the only one there to this new information that is indeed the defense theory. But Sean, nonetheless, this witness has some problems, but there are some themes that are arising here. The shower image.
Exactly.
That's
you
tough.
immediately hearkened back to the earlier testimony about the shower scene.
Exactly.
Yep.
And this issue of reprisal, which comes up in the false imprisonment allegations with the original accuser, or with the base accuser here.
Yes, it's a problem. Again, I have to say, though, this is a high-profile case. The jurors have a certain impression of Michael Jackson. I have to say, he doesn't seem the type, and I don't know him, but he doesn't seem the type to be issuing these sort of reprisals. I'm going to get you if you ever...
Oh, Sean, you had me until you went there. Oh.
And he has surrogates,
I can convince you.
Yeah, okay. She can convince me. Can't she convince you? We'll try it when we return. For someone who wants no part of this trial, certainly not these two, we sure hear a lot about Macaulay Culkin. See you in a minute.
The reenactments and commentary in this program may contain frank talk of a sexual nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back. Is there a limit to the number of former employees who can be called to testify against Michael Jackson? That, of course, is a rhetorical question. Our next witness, yet another housekeeper. Her name is Adrienne McManus. She was a housekeeper at Neverland. She recalls seeing Jackson with an underage movie star. Okay, right now I'm declaring a boycott on all Home Alone jokes, puns, references, all that stuff. Here's what the jury heard, according to the courtroom transcripts.
All right. Let's begin with Macaulay Culkin. What is it that you saw that concerned you?
I was coming out of the bathroom by his bedroom. by Mr. Jackson's bedroom. I was cleaning that bathroom, and when I came out, I saw Mr. Jackson and Macaulay in the library. And Mr. Jackson was kissing him on his cheek, and he had his hand kind of by his leg, kind of on his rear end.
Did they know that you were there?
I don't know.
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Did you announce your presence to them?
No.
Where were you at the time you witnessed this?
I was coming out of the bathroom by Mr. Jackson's bedroom.
This testimony, again, we're going to find out later on that this witness has her share of problems. She was involved in the same lawsuit as Mr. Chacon was, but how does it wash out?
Well, you know this infuriates me. I mean, taking not one side nor the other side, just my personal side, Macaulay Culkin says that he was not molested.
Yeah.
So stigmatizing him as if he were just frosts me. That's it.
Now, what about the jury, though, Sean? Is that something, that sentiment, certainly understandable, is that sentiment going to occur, do you think, arise in these jurors?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Macaulay Culkin does come in to testify. We were talking earlier about it's really important, I think, that he does. We agree on that because he says, as we've heard, nothing happened. And if he comes in for the defense and says that many of these acts that have been witnessed were actually innocent acts and these people are attaching either sinister views to what they saw or making it all up, that's going to be very powerful. We don't know whether he's going to come in. Let's hope.
And the idea, the problem is, according to his folks, Macaulay Culkin's folks, he ain't coming in. That's it for today. Be sure to watch our exclusive coverage of the Michael Jackson trial. The weekend wrap-up show tomorrow, 10 a.m. and 4 only on 8.